Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to 12 Days of Printmas Day 3. Now on the first day of Printmas, I went in depth on what you as a 3D printer can make all of your friends and family for Christmas and for the holidays. But today, this video is specifically for people who are looking to buy something for somebody who 3D prints, stuff that they can use for their hobby or stuff that they never even heard about. And also, if you are into 3D printing and maybe you need some ideas for something that you need to put on your list from somebody else, you can add this onto it as well. Now, I'm going to go in depth on FDM printing and resin printing, so if you're in either one of those sections, just stay tuned and I will get to all of that in this video. Okay, to start off, I'm going to give you guys my recommended 3D printer for FDM printing. And I'm going to go with the Anycubic Cobra 3. Now, I've used probably about 10 different FDM printers since I've started doing this, and a lot of them have been pretty decent. For the most part, I've had pretty great luck with Elegoo, some luck with Creality, but this Anycubic is something different. Now, the cool thing about it is a standard size printer. I think it's 225 by 225 by 250 or something along the lines of that. So like the standard regular size printer. But it also prints at 600 millimeters a second, which is extremely fast. And this printer comes with all the bells and whistles. It has automatic leveling. It also has a filament runout sensor, remote printing, which is a huge help, especially if your computer isn't right next to your printer, and a ton of other features. And especially considering this printer is only about $200 or $300-ish. I can't remember. I'll put the exact price up here so that way you guys can see how much it is. But on top of all of these great features, you also have the ability to add 2 Ace Pros. And basically what the Ace Pro allows you to do is allows you to print with up to 4 rolls of filament, or 8 if you have 2 of them, and you can print with 8 different colored materials all at once. And especially for the starting point of the combo, I know it's $380 for the Cobra 3 combo for the printer and for one of the Ace Pros. It's almost unbeatable. A lot of the decent 3D printers nowadays are about $250 to $300. So being a little over 100 more and you get all these great features with the multi-filament printing is probably the best one on the market. Especially with the deals going on right now, all of this stuff that I'm mentioning in this video is probably on sale in some way. So just keep an eye out for Amazon or for Anycubic sales themselves and all of these other websites and different things like that, because there's sales going on all the time. Now, if you're not wanting to buy a whole 3D printer for somebody, maybe you're just trying to look for a gift for somebody, look for PLA. Filament is something that you're going to need literally all the time for 3D printing because you cannot 3D print without it. And some machines can do certain filaments that others can't. So if you don't know what type of machine they have, but you want to help them out and get them some filament, get them PLA filament, just because that is like the streamline. Everybody uses that. If you want a specific brand, honestly, I would recommend FlashForge. A lot of their PLAs are really cool. They have a lot of cool metallics and pearlescent filaments and all these crazy colors, but they are a little bit more expensive. So if you're looking for more affordable PLA at a really, really good price, I'd recommend looking at Sunlu or Chitu Systems filaments. And I'll leave an affiliate link down below so that way you guys can look through all the different filaments that they have, and anything that you guys purchase through those links, I'll get a kickback from it, and it'll help me create more videos like this for you guys. Okay, so let's say that you've been to this person's house and you see all their filament and their 3D printers and they have all of that stuff, and you're looking to buy something for them. There's still a ton of things out there that doesn't just involve those. So one of the best things that somebody could get for Christmas that'll help them out with their filament is a filament dryer. Sunlu makes a really good filament dryer and has a couple of different models with different settings for different types of materials as well. You can dry your PETGs, your ABSs, your PLAs, all of them on this thing, and they run at pretty affordable prices. And it's a really good addition to your printing farm as well, because you get to save and sometimes revive a roll of filament by drying it. You can kind of get that freshness back. And basically all a filament dryer does is takes the moisture out of the filament, so that way you can reuse it without it cracking or breaking. Up next, buy them a toolkit. There's a ton of different tools that you need for 3D printing all the time. Stuff breaks, you have to replace things. There's a lot of consumable parts on a 3D printer. So any sort of toolkit that comes with the filament nippers, the print bed spudgies and scrapers to help get the print off of the bed, and also a kit that comes with all of the Allen wrenches and the tweezers and other things like that that you're going to need for 3D printing. I have a toolkit like that myself, and I got it from Micro Center, so that's another really good place that you guys can check out. They have a whole 3D printing section. If you guys would like to see all about their new store that just opened up in Miami, check out this video up here where I give you guys a full walkthrough of the entire store, as well as going in depth on their 3D printing section. Up next, a filament connector. This just came out not too long ago, and I have a video that will be releasing sometime soon, and it's the Sunlu filament connector. And basically what it does is it welds 2 rolls of filament together by conjoining the ends. And it's not like a crazy concept, but it does make it really nice, especially if you have, say it's just 2 of the same color rolls and you want to get a big print off, but you don't want to worry about changing out the filament or having the filament run out on you. Maybe you don't even have a sensor on your 3D printer. This allows you to connect the filament rolls together, and then you can just use them all as one. So let's say your print needs 100 grams of filament and you have 2 rolls that you want to use, but each of them have 50 grams. Just connect them and then print with it. It's perfect. Up next, a 3D printing pen is a huge help, especially if you're into making helmets or different dioramas and stuff like that, and you don't feel like using a soldering iron, or you don't have glue and you want a way to just make it all easy to connect in a couple seconds. Using a 3D printing pen is super easy. I use it on my helmets all the time just because I don't wear them. So I use that to connect like the lenses and stuff like that together, and it makes it super easy and it's super reliable. Also, you're even able to freehand a 3D print. There is a huge learning curve in using a 3D printing pen, especially to make models by hand, and that's a really great gift for somebody that's into 3D printing. A soldering iron is another extremely helpful gift for somebody that's into 3D printing. You can use this to connect any sort of part together and literally melt the 2 pieces together. I even use a soldering iron on my helmets, or sometimes even to close gaps in certain ways, and you can kind of morph and mold a 3D print after it's printed. If there's something wrong with it, you can use a soldering iron to kind of heat it up and then morph it the way that you want to. So that's another really cool gift. A Wi-Fi camera. There's a ton of cheap Wi-Fi cameras out there that are like 20 bucks, and they're just like indoor like security cameras. I know Genie makes a couple, Mercury, brands like that you could find at Walmart that are like 20 bucks. Get them one of those, so that way if their 3D printer does not have a camera on it, they have a way of watching the prints without worrying about them failing. They can just watch it from their phone. They can see how good it's doing, and if it starts to fail, they can go and turn it off. And that will relieve the worry of not having a print fail and it's about to be printing for the next 6 hours and you're not gonna be able to go watch it. Go ahead and look at it on your Wi-Fi camera, and if you see that's messing up, then you can go and stop it and restart and do whatever it is that you need to do. An electric air duster or a vacuum is a super cool gift, especially for 3D printing. You always have filament pieces that break off and little bits of plastic that get in printers, and especially with all the moving parts that are on 3D printers, it's nice to have something like that that kind of just cleans it out, get into places that you can't get your hand into, and clean out all the different filament bits and stringing and stuff like that. So an air duster, or even an electric vacuum, a little skinny electric vacuum. And if you really want to get in depth and they already have a lot of stuff, getting them crafting glue and also isopropyl alcohol are two pretty much 100% necessities for 3D printing. You're going to use glue a lot, especially if you make little pieces that have to connect. And IPA, I use 99% IPA every single day to clean off my 3D printing beds. It gives it a nice clean bed for the next print, so that way there's no bed adhesion issues. Okay, so stepping away from FDM printing, I'm now going to get into the resin printing side of things. So if you're looking to get somebody a resin printer, I personally think the Mars 5 Ultra gives you the absolute best bang for your buck. This resin printer is made by Elegoo, and it is their newest resin printer that they have out right now. It's not the largest one that they have, but it actually is slightly bigger than your standard resin printer. It's kind of a unique size actually. It's actually a 7-inch build plate, which is different from any other resin printer that's out there. It has a 9K resolution LCD screen. It also has an AI camera that can detect print fails and broken pieces. Even the bed in the Mars 5 Ultra is smart. It can actually detect the weight of the vat, and it can sense if it's running out of resin or not. The Mars 5 Ultra runs at about $279, and for the holiday season, I'm sure they have a lot of sales. Just check on Amazon and on Elegoo's website, and I guarantee you there's a holiday sale for you. Now, if you're not wanting to buy them a whole resin printer, just like you probably wouldn't buy them a whole FDM printer either, you could get them a wash and cure station. Elegoo also makes the Mercury series, which is their wash and cure station series. And they have one that is only $100 on Amazon. So what the wash and cure station does is it actually washes the resin off of the print and then cures the resin that was printed. So that way it's 100% solid and clean. One of these stations is almost a necessity for resin printing, especially if they do it a lot and they have a lot of small parts and stuff like that. They're gonna need a way to clean it. They're gonna need to be able to cure the entire print afterwards too, because resin prints are not 100% cured when they're going through the actual printing process. So if they've been saying that they need a wash and cure station, now's the time to get it. Another really great gift would be an air purifier. Elegoo also makes these miniature air purifiers, and so does Anycubic and other brands like that, where they're small air purifiers that you put inside of or next to your resin printer and helps get rid of the smell of the resin. Now, just to throw this out there for anybody who doesn't know, resin printing is not like FDM printing. It's completely different. There's a lot of chemicals and hazardous materials involved. You'll need a lot of safety tools when you're resin printing, which brings me right into my next point, which is PPE. Getting somebody a respirator, gloves, goggles, or maybe even an apron to protect their clothes is a great gift. You do not want to get that resin on you at all, as it is toxic, and the IPA that you use to clean it also isn't great for your skin, and the UV light that you use to cure the resin is also extremely dangerous for your eyes and skin. So having proper PPE is a huge necessity for resin printing, and giving that as a gift is also a great idea as well. And if you're wanting to buy some resin to print with, I recommend just going with standard resin. I haven't used a ton of brands. I've pretty much only used Elegoo and I think a couple of small ones on Amazon. So just get them standard photopolymer UV resin, and that is exactly what you need for resin printing. And if the person that you're shopping for is into resin printing, there's a good chance that they also like to paint and finish their prints. So even looking into something like an airbrush is a super great idea as well. They have electric wireless rechargeable airbrushes on Amazon where it's literally a battery pack attached to an airbrush, and you can use that just as you would any other airbrush. And they have adjustable nozzles for the amount of air pressure that's coming out. Or if you even want to look for a kit on Amazon, the Master Airbrush kit is super nice, and I actually have that for myself for the prints that I work on. And it's a great kit. It comes with a miniature air compressor as well as 3 different types of airbrushes and a ton of different paint. So it's a whole kit that is set up for somebody who doesn't have anything for airbrushing, and it gets them started in that. Thank you guys for tuning in to day 3 of Printmas. I have a couple of really cool videos coming out for Printmas over the next couple of days. So make sure you guys tune in for that. If you guys like this video, make sure you drop a like down below. And if you've missed any of the other 12 days of Printmas videos, go ahead and click on this playlist right here. And if you guys are into 3D printing and would like to see more content from me, go ahead and subscribe right here. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next day of Printmas.